Hey, cats and kittens. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about songwriting. We touched on that in a previous video a little bit, but I was preparing some songs this weekend for a TV show that I got some tracks in and started thinking about songwriting again. I'm working with these other friends of mine who wanted me to do some stuff with them. And I'm like, oh yeah, and thinking about what's important. And these points I'm going to make I think, are super big. So I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Your songs need to be singable. Now, what do I mean by that? I mean, of course they're going to be singable. No. They need to be singable and they need to be easy to sing. I'll make an example. Several years ago, my dear friend Scott Kempner and I were working on some songs for Dion DiMucci, and he wanted to take a new direction, so we were trying to come up with stuff. And I remember the first song we played for him, he was like, yeah, that's a really good song, but there's too many words. And we were like, what do you mean there's too many words? He's like, I gotta do my ting. Your ting? Yeah, my ting. What's your ting? And his thing was, whoa, his ting. So he's such a great vocalist that he likes to have space in between phrases to do his ting. And that was an important lesson. It was like, oh, wow, of course, right? Like, there's a reason Elvis Costello doesn't have many covers. It's not that Elvis isn't awesome. I love Elvis. He's one of my big influences. But there's too many words. So that's something you need to think about, that it needs to be singable. It needs to be easy to sing and singable. Because the really great vocalists of the world, unless you're one of them and you're writing for yourself, they like space. They like to have room to sing, to vocalize, to breathe, to create emotion and impact, okay? So, not too many words. I mean, think about it. The most recorded Elvis Costello song, Elvis didn't write. Nick Lowe did, right? And maybe the most singable one he's ever written is Allison, which does have fewer words. It's just something to think about. Now, the other thing is that every great song is really a horn chart. What? What does he mean? Let me explain. So, any classic song in history, you could take the melody, the vocal line, and make a horn chart out of it. And that would be perfectly reasonable to do. Meaning, if you took out the vocal and there was a horn part there instead, playing the vocal melody, you'd be like, oh yeah, right? And like, I can go back to Sinatra. So the song, the great song All the Way, it's like, when somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you. Ba 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 da 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 ba 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 da 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 da. You dig? It's a horn chart. Any Motown song, Tracks of My Tears, any of them. Heard It Through the Grapevine. Heard It Through the Grapevine is a great one. I bet you wonder how I knew on your plan to make me blue. Ba da ba 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 da ba da ba ba. It's a horn chart. So, if you write a melody that's that good, that can also be a horn chart, you're on the right track. So if you replace the vocal with a horn, would it play? Then you got a good one. Another tip is the greatest songs in history. I might have covered this last time, but I want to do it again because it's super important. The greatest songs in history, all the vowels are on the downbeat. What do I mean by that? Like Okay, Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis, right? Wise men say only fools rush in. You dig? All the way. When somebody loves you, it's no good unless he loves you. Right? I'm just going to pull another one out of my hat. My Romance, you know that song? It's a classic, right? Pre-rock and roll. My romance doesn't need a glass of wine in the air. My romance. All the downbeats are on vowels. Now, there's a reason for that. It's easier to sing. It's also prettier. But mainly, it swings. You can look at any great rock and roll song that you love from your childhood or today, although I don't know about today. Some of the writing today is kind of weird. But any classic song from your childhood, and it doesn't matter what style it is. If there's a great vocalist singing that song and it's memorable and it's lasted this long, they're swinging the vowels on the downbeat. So that's another tip that's very important. But, you know, in keeping with keeping lyrics simple. Now, I'm not going to be the one to tell you what every other songwriting guru is going to tell you, because I was an artist, so I could get away with things being an artist. But I have had songs covered by really great artists, great singers, and there is a common thread through them. And that is the emotion, the narrative that are in those lyrics can apply to anybody. So I'm not going to be the guy like everybody else that tells you, oh no, you got to write real general things. Yeah, sometimes. But I will say that the songs I've written for other people have the common thread that they can be digested by a wider audience, or understood and embraced by more than just me, right? So like the birds fly south in wintertime, like the showers bring the spring, you return to me like sweet sunshine. And I don't want for anything. Right? Like, who can't relate to that? Like the beauty in a child's smile, the future on an angel's wing. I can lose the darkness for a while, I don't want for anything. There's no more worldly goods keep me satisfied. I know all I need has been here all the time. Right? Duh. Like, who couldn't respond to that? Like, who couldn't, like, embrace that? So I'm not saying, again, don't write general things just to write general things because you want to get cuts in films and TV, and that's what they tell you to do. Obviously, it has to have your heart in it. It has to be deeply felt and expressed. But there are certain things that people will respond to regardless. You know, like the song that of mine that Betty Levette covered, and we touched on this very, very briefly last time, but that's a cheating song, right? So this isn't like write generally to get into everything, kind of appeal to everyone thing. It's a cheating song, but guess what? Cheating songs do appeal to a lot of people. So, Maybe we ought to think this through. Maybe we ought to tell the truth. This is the point of no return, and it don't belong to you. But I guess we shouldn't talk about that now. You can't take back a touch, you can't undo a deep emotion. Desperation comes once the heart is given in. When love's against the tide, everyone gets broken. But I guess we shouldn't talk about that now. You dig? So there's an example where you're not really compromising, you're just telling it how it is, but you do it in such a way that's easy to sing and easy to emote. There's not too many words, and it still has a big chorus, bang, right in your face, that will repeat throughout the song, and you've done your job, and you got a cut. You dig? So, anyway, that's just what's off the top of my head today. I'm sure there are some other things that I'll come up with, and I'll post them about them too. If you have any questions about songwriting, please let me know. Be happy to answer any of them. Or if there's something you want me to cover, just let me know, and I'll do it. I'll do it right away. See ya.